My wife cheated on me with her gay best friend, and my whole world has turned upside down. My wife of 8 years cheated on me with her supposedly gay best friend. I'm devastated, confused, and don't know how to move forward. Looking for advice and support. I, 35M, never thought I'd be writing a post like this, but here I am. My wife Sarah, 33F, and I have been married for 8 wonderful years, or so I thought. We met in college, dated for 3 years, and tied the knot in a beautiful ceremony surrounded by our friends and family. We've always had a strong relationship built on trust, communication, and mutual respect. At least, that's what I believed until last week. Sarah has a best friend, Mark, 34M, whom she's known since high school. Mark came out as gay during their senior year, and Sarah has always been his biggest supporter. I've always admired their friendship and was glad Sarah had such a close confidant. Mark has been a constant presence in our lives, joining us for dinners, vacations, and even being the man of honor at our wedding. I never once felt threatened by Mark's presence in our lives. He's been in a few relationships with men over the years, though none of them seemed to last very long. Sarah would often comfort him after breakups, and I encouraged her to be there for her friend. I even considered Mark a good friend of mine, and we'd often hang out just the two of us, watching sports or grabbing a beer. Last week, everything changed. I came home early from a business trip, wanting to surprise Sarah. As I quietly entered our house, I heard noises coming from our bedroom. My heart started racing, and a sick feeling settled in my stomach. I slowly pushed open the door, praying that my worst fears weren't about to be confirmed. But there they were, Sarah and Mark, in our bed, clearly in the middle of an intimate act. They didn't notice me at first, and for a moment, I stood there frozen, unable to process what I was seeing. Then, as if in a bad movie, I dropped my bag, and they finally realized they weren't alone. The next few minutes were a blur of shouting, crying, and confusion. Sarah kept repeating "it's not what it looks like," while Mark hurriedly got dressed and left, mumbling apologies. I couldn't bear to look at either of them. Once Mark was gone, Sarah broke down completely. Through her tears, she confessed that she and Mark had been having an affair for the past 6 months. She said it started innocently, late-night conversations, emotional support during a stressful time at work, but quickly evolved into something more. I asked about Mark's sexuality, feeling like my whole world was built on lies. Sarah explained that Mark had recently confided in her that he thought he might be bisexual. They had both been drinking one night, and one thing led to another. She swore it was a mistake and that she loved me, but I couldn't hear it. I packed a bag and left to stay with my brother. It's been a week, and I'm still reeling. I've barely slept or eaten. I've called in sick to work, unable to face the world. Sarah has been calling and texting nonstop, begging for a chance to explain, to work things out. Mark has also reached out, apologizing profusely and offering to talk. I haven't responded to either of them. I'm devastated, angry, and confused. I feel betrayed not just by my wife, but also by someone I considered a friend. I'm questioning everything. Were there signs I missed? Was our whole relationship a lie? How could Sarah do this to me? How could Mark? I'm also struggling with feelings of inadequacy. Did Sarah turn to Mark because I wasn't enough? Was I not attentive enough, not good enough in bed? The thoughts are eating me alive. My family and close friends have been supportive, but they're also in shock. Sarah was loved by everyone, and no one saw this coming. Some of our mutual friends have reached out, unsure of how to navigate this situation. A few have suggested that maybe it was just a mistake, that perhaps we could work through this with therapy. Others are firmly on my side, saying I should divorce Sarah immediately. I'm torn about what to do next. Part of me still loves Sarah deeply and wonders if we could salvage our marriage. We've built a life together, and the thought of throwing it all away is heartbreaking. But another part of me doesn't know if I can ever trust her again. Every time I close my eyes, I see them together in our bed. As for Mark, I'm equally conflicted. I'm furious with him for betraying my trust, but I also feel a strange sense of pity. Was he struggling with his sexuality all this time? Does that excuse his actions? I'm not sure I can ever forgive him, but I also worry about him. Despite everything, he's been a part of my life for so long. I'm also grappling with practical concerns. We have a joint mortgage, shared finances, and a dog we both adore. The thought of untangling our lives seems overwhelming. And then there's the question of whether to tell our families and friends the full story. I'm embarrassed and don't want people to pity me, but I also don't want to lie. Reddit, I'm lost. I never thought I'd be in this situation, and I don't know how to move forward. Should I try to work things out with Sarah? Is there any coming back from this kind of betrayal? How do I deal with Mark? How do I start to rebuild my life if I decide to end my marriage? Any advice, similar experiences, or words of wisdom would be greatly appreciated. I feel like I'm drowning, and I need a lifeline. Edit 1. Wow, I'm overwhelmed by the response. Thank you all for your support and advice. To address some common questions. No, we don't have children. We were planning to start trying next year. I haven't confronted Mark directly yet. I'm not sure I'm ready for that conversation. Sarah claims this is the only time she's ever cheated, but at this point, I don't know what to believe. I'm planning to get tested for STDs as soon as possible. I'll update when I have more information or have made a decision. Thank you all again for your kindness during this difficult time. Edit 2. A lot of you have asked about our relationship leading up to this. Honestly, I thought things were good. We had date nights, took vacations together, and our sex life was active. There were no red flags that I noticed, which makes this even harder to process. Edit 3. To those suggesting I check our phone records or emails, I'm not sure I want to go down that rabbit hole right now. The thought of finding more evidence of betrayal is too painful. Edit 4. Thank you to everyone who shared their own stories of infidelity and recovery. It helps to know I'm not alone, even though I wouldn't wish this pain on anyone. Edit 5. I've decided to seek individual therapy to help process my emotions. I'm not ready to consider couples therapy yet, but I know I need professional help to navigate this. Update, 1 week later. First, I want to thank everyone for their support and advice. It's been a challenging week, but your words have given me strength. I finally agreed to meet with Sarah to talk. We met at a neutral location, a quiet coffee shop, to discuss everything. It was one of the hardest conversations of my life. Sarah broke down almost immediately, apologizing profusely and taking full responsibility for her actions. She swore that it was a terrible mistake and that she wants to do whatever it takes to save our marriage. She's offered to cut all contact with Mark, change jobs, they work for the same company, though in different departments, and go to both individual and couples therapy. When I asked her why she did it, she struggled to give a clear answer. She mentioned feeling confused about her own sexuality, wondering if she might be bisexual herself. She also admitted to enjoying the thrill and excitement of the affair, which made me feel sick to my stomach. As for Mark, I received a long email from him. He explained that he's been struggling with his sexuality for years, repressing his attraction to women out of fear and confusion. He said that doesn't excuse his actions, and he understands if I never want to speak to him again. He's also offered to tell our mutual friends the truth if I want him to. I'm still processing everything. While a part of me wants to believe Sarah and try to work things out, another part feels like the trust is irreparably broken. The thought of them together still makes me physically ill. I've decided to take some time for myself. I'm going to stay with a friend in another city for a few weeks, to get some distance and clarity. I've told Sarah I need this time and space, and she's agreed to respect that. I've also started seeing a therapist, which has been helpful. It's giving me tools to manage my emotions and think more clearly about what I want for my future. I know I have a long road ahead, regardless of what I decide. If I choose to try and reconcile with Sarah, it will take a lot of work and time to rebuild trust. If I decide to end the marriage, I'll have to navigate the painful process of divorce and starting over. Thank you all again for your support. I'll update again when I've made a decision about how to move forward. Final update, 3 months later. Hello Reddit. It's been a while, and a lot has happened. I want to thank you all again for your support during the darkest time of my life. Your advice and kind words truly helped me through. After much soul-searching, therapy, and long conversations, I've made the difficult decision to end my marriage with Sarah. While she has been remorseful and willing to do anything to save our relationship, I realized that I couldn't move past the betrayal. Every time I looked at her, I saw her with Mark, and I knew that wasn't a healthy foundation for rebuilding our marriage. The divorce process has been painful but amicable. We're selling our house and dividing our assets. It's surreal to be untangling 8 years of marriage, but I know it's the right decision for me. As for Mark, I finally met with him to hear his side of the story. It was a difficult conversation, filled with tears and apologies on his part. While I can't forgive him right now, I told him I hope he finds peace with his sexuality and himself. We won't be friends again, but I don't harbor the intense anger I initially felt. I'm focusing on healing and rebuilding my life. I've thrown myself into work, started exercising regularly, and even joined a support group for people dealing with infidelity. It's been incredibly helpful to connect with others who understand what I'm going through. I've also started dating again, very casually. It's been both exciting and terrifying to put myself out there, but it's helping me regain my confidence and remember that there's life after this betrayal. Sarah and I have limited contact now, mainly through our lawyers. She's continuing with therapy and has moved to a different city for a fresh start. Part of me will always care for her and hope she finds happiness, but I know that can't be with me. To those of you going through similar situations, hang in there. It gets better. The pain doesn't disappear overnight, but it does lessen with time. Focus on yourself, surround yourself with supportive people, and don't be afraid to seek professional help. Thank you all again for being there for me during the worst time of my life. Your support meant more than you know. Decided to end my marriage after my wife's affair with her gay best friend. It's been a difficult journey, but I'm healing and moving forward with my life.